Hey guys, what's up? My name is Troy Lister, aka King Lister, and this is my very first post on my new YouTube page. Just an FYI for you guys, my channel will be primarily sports, music, television, movies, and of course, comic book related stuff. All things pop culture. I plan on starting it off by doing a couple discussion videos about certain things, as you will see. And once we grow a little bit more, I plan on doing reactions, breakdowns, things of that nature. So, if you like what you see here today, please give this video a like, share it, and subscribe to my channel so you get notifications when I'm uploading a video. So, let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into it and why we're here tonight. Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 3, The Long Night. First and foremost, let me just say, I absolutely loved the episode. When I first saw it with my friends Sunday night, we watched it live at 9. I thought it was brilliant. I thought the way it was shot, the way the battle scenes went down, I thought it was amazing. I thought they did a great job with all that stuff. My initial thoughts. As I sat with it for about 2 days, and I watched other YouTubers, and I read some online articles, and I thought about it, the more I started to pick apart the episode. Not because it was a bad episode, but because I, as a Game of Thrones fan, wanted more. I expected more. And I'm going to get into why I think that was a problem. But first, back to the episode. As you know by now, this is going to be a spoiler video. So if you don't watch Game of Thrones, you plan on watching Game of Thrones, or you haven't seen a new episode yet, I don't know what you're doing, but you should get on that and stop watching this video. Go watch it, come back and watch this then. So, the dead show up to Winterfell, things get crazy, and eventually the good guys win thanks to Arya freaking Stark. What a move. They teased that last season when she was sparring against Brienne. I'm glad to see that come pay off. Let me get us out of the way. I have no problem with Arya killing the Night King. I thought that was a cool twist. I will say, as a Jon Snow fan, I was a little bummed to not see Jon get his hands on the Night King. At least a sword fight. That was one of my initial complaints or criticisms of the episode. But we'll get to that. Darkness. Everybody was complaining about how dark it was. The episode was dark. I had no problem with the way it was shot. I thought the showrunners, the director, the producers, everybody involved wanted to immerse you into the world of Westeros and in this battle. It was pure chaos for the characters in the battle, and I think they wanted to make the audience feel like they are a part of the battle as well. Now, I understand for everyone, that may not be your thing. But for me, it worked. I just got done watching it again about half an hour ago. I watched it on my laptop in my living room in the dark, and I had no problem seeing anything. Some of the scenes, of course, where the dragons were fighting in the sky, inside the storm, were a little bit dark, but I could tell who was who, and I could see all the key things that were going down. So I had no issue with the darkness. None. Moving on. I've seen a lot of people complaining and upset about just certain aspects. There should have been more deaths. There should have been more to the battle. Why did the Night King die so quickly? All these things. And I can't answer them all for you. I'm just here to give you my perspective of why I think these things happened. They have clearly been setting up Cersei to be the big bad for this season. If you watch Game of Thrones, you know the show has been about the Iron Throne since day one. Yes, the very first scene of the very first episode ever is of the White Walkers killing those the Night's Watch people in the very beginning, but that wasn't the main point of the show. You don't see them again as a threat until, well, I believe Sam sees them at the end of season 1. But they don't really become a true threat until season 5, the Hardhome episode, when Jon has his first confrontation with the Night King. But all this time, all 7 seasons before that, it's been a political drama based on the Game of Thrones. who's going to sit on the Iron Throne. And Cersei has been the biggest player since the beginning, really. I mean, honestly. Other than her father, Tywin, I don't think there's been a bigger player in everything other than Cersei. So I have no gripes with Cersei being the big bad. And honestly, if you think about it, this is a 6-episode season. And we kind of knew the Battle of Winterfell was going to be episode 3. So to me, I already had kind of theorized that basically there's no way for the good guys, our heroes, the living, to survive this with taking a loss. It's either going to be a win or you're going to get wiped out. There is no, oh, let's retreat and regather ourselves and regroup and then maybe take them on in episode 4 or 5. We don't have time for that. It needed to be done and it needed to be ended in a very concise way. And I think they did that. Now, speaking on the Night King specifically, I am a little upset and bothered that we didn't get to see his full range of power. And I'm also a little upset that we didn't really get to see him kill anybody. Like I said before, I would have loved to see him and Jon Snow have a sword fight. We did see them duel on dragons, and that was pretty sweet. You gotta admit. But here's my thoughts on the Night King. A lot of people have been saying things like, who is he? What are his motivations? Why was he doing it? Was he just really trying to get a long night? Is that his main motivation? And I think it was. Bran said in episode 2 that the Night King wants an endless night. He wants to rid the world of the living. He wants it to be winter everywhere all the time. And he needed to kill Bran, who is a three-eyed raven, who is basically a walking, well, not walking, but he's basically a living history book. So to me, his motivation was set. Bran explained it in the battle preparation scene. So I don't think we needed any more details into what his plan was. Now, about who he is, I get it. I understand why we would want that information. He's such a predominant player in the storyline, and he's been hyped up for so long that it almost leaves you feeling empty without having knowledge of who he is. But I think the Night King, he's not even in the books. Now, before we get too far into this, you should know I have read half the first book, but I stopped reading it because, truthfully, it was hard to read the books after watching the show because I have my own image of what the world is because of the show. But I do want to get back into reading all the books. But I know, because I've done my research, that the Night King does not exist in the books. There's a character called the Night's King, but he is not the same character as we see in TV. I believe the Night's King in the book was the 13th Lord Commander. If I'm not mistaken, I'm sure somebody in the comments who knows more could let me know that I'm wrong. But I believe he was the 13th Lord Commander, and I think he married a White Walker or something along those lines, and that's how he got the name Night's King. But this character, the Night King, in the show was completely made up by the showrunners to kind of be the face of winter, if you will. Now, back to why I think it's okay that we don't really know who he is. It's better to me to be a mystery. You know, I've heard a lot of people complaining that Cersei is going to be the big bad, but Cersei is a very well fleshed out character that we've seen since season 1. Cersei was the queen when we first meet her. Her husband dies, but she has this thirst for power. She'll do anything she can to keep it. We saw her lose her power when she had to deal with all the High Sparrow in season 5, I believe that was. Yes, and she regains it, and she's almost full Mad Queen, really, when she blows up the Sept. That's craziness. What a great scene. Cersei's a great character, and I think her story and the story of the Iron Throne really, truly is the heart of the show. And I have no complaints with her being the big bad. I think she's a much better fleshed out character to have to deal with in the long run than the Night King. Now, again, you are free to feel your own opinion. Everybody has one. I'm just speaking in terms of this complaint that the Night King was never really truly explored. For 7 seasons, we never explored who the Night King was. You didn't see the Night King until season 4, when he took Craster's son and turned him to a White Walker when he touched his face. That's the very first time you see the Night King. The second time is at Hardhome, when he faces down against Jon. And then I believe you don't see him again. You do see him when he attacks the 3-Eyed Raven and Bran in the cave. He kills the 3-Eyed Raven. And then him and Bran have some interactions in their when Bran's working in the Ravens and stuff. And then you don't really see him again until when he kills Viserion in the Beyond the Wall episode. So for all this hype about who the Night King is and all this stuff, they had 7 seasons to tell his backstory. And they never did. They never did. So to me, I think the main problem, or where people wanted to know, is because of the theories and all the speculation. And Game of Thrones fans are very, very passionate. And this is a show we've all grown to watch and love over the past 9 years. 8 seasons, 9 years, because I took a year off. So during the 2-year gap between season 7 and season 8, all you could do was go on YouTube and watch theory videos, read theories online, all kinds of stuff, and everybody speculated. Everybody had an opinion. Everybody had a guess. People were pulling clues out from the books and from this and from that, and everybody really was just so eager to know more. And I think that when we didn't see it in this episode, it made a lot of people go like, oh man, I really wish we had that. But not to get off topic, I'm obviously a Batman fan. And his main foe is the Joker. The Joker is one of the greatest villains ever created. And there's no true origin to who the Joker is. The Joker has no true name. Now, sure, a lot of people will reference the Killing Joke as the Joker's true origin, but it's not. There are so many iterations of the Joker throughout his 80-year history, almost 80-year history, at least 79 exactly, but that's besides the point. There's no true origin to who he is. He's just a man, he's a mystery, and that's part of what makes the Joker so cool. And I kind of saw the Night King in that same light. In The Dark Knight, Alfred, played by the great Michael Caine, has a line where he says to Bruce, "Some men just want to see the world burn." I believe the Night King just wanted to see the world turn to ice. That's it. I think that's all it was. I don't think he's a Targaryen. I don't think he could have been a Stark. I mean, it's possible. All the connections the Starks have to Winter. I mean, that's obviously, sure, it's a fun idea to play with. But I just think he was one of the first men that the Children of the Forest turned into a White Walker to use as a weapon against. They showed that. They told us that. They created the White Walkers to use as a weapon against man, but they couldn't control him or control them. And he is just the literal face of winter in the show. And I'm okay with that. That is fine to me. Again, like I said, I was upset, clearly, that we didn't see Jon and him duke it out, sword fight. I mean, he had the cool, ice sword on his back. I was hoping he would whip it out and we see him and Jon in that open field after he felt the dragon. I was hoping they would duke it out. Honestly, I really was. I was really like, oh man, finally here. And because that is probably truly my main complaint. My biggest gripe, and that's just because I'm a Jon Snow fan, is that we didn't see that. We didn't see it. We waited and we waited and we waited, and all the tension, all the stare downs between him and Jon, it just felt like it was going to be that, and it never did. And it did bother me, but like I said, I've taken some time after rewatching the episode for the second time. I feel fine about it. It's okay, because Cersei is the endgame. And now we get to see these characters who are left, all major characters, by the way, which is another complaint I'll get to. All major characters really play the Game of Thrones over these final 3 episodes. And, the hashtag for the season was For the Throne. So they were telling us in their marketing campaign, For the Throne. This is what it's about. but yet all the promos they were doing were very, very, very Night King heavy. So the show, which always done misdirection, did a good job because they've been hyping it up, hyping it up, hyping it up. Here's the Night King. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. And it's really Cersei. Humans are still the real threat. And I think that's brilliant. I think that's great, to be honest. I think that the fact we're going to see the story for the Iron Throne will be the final part of the show. I mean, this show, like I said, for 7 seasons, for the better part of 7 seasons, was a political drama. It didn't turn to a true fantasy world until season 7, really, I believe, truthfully. I mean, I think when you see the full Army of the Dead in their potential, when he raises the dragon and stuff, that's when it really turned into a sci-fi drama, but fantasy drama, I should say. But before that, it has just been a great political drama, and I think that I'm very excited to see the conclusion for the Battle of the Throne. Now, as for the death conversation, I made my 3 locks. I made 3 locks before the episode. I said Brienne, I said Grey Worm, and I said Theon. I was only right about Theon. Brienne and Grey Worm somehow survived. I don't know how Grey Worm lived. I thought for sure Grey Worm would go. He did not. But I'm okay with that. Because he had a line that he said to Missandei about he will fight until all of Daenerys' enemies are gone. And her enemies are not gone yet. Cersei is still very much a part of the show. So I like that Grey Worm might be there for the final sack of King's Landing. But the death conversation, if you put this in perspective of other battles in the history of Game of Thrones, this episode had the most main character deaths. I believe the Battle of Blackwater had no major deaths. Really, no major character deaths. And Battle of the Bastards had Ramsay and Rickon Stark. And I don't even count Rickon as a big character because we didn't see the kid since when him and Bran split up. And was that season 3? 2? I can't remember when that was. But he wasn't a main character to me. So this episode, we lost, I think, 7 main characters. Ed, people will scoff at the idea that Ed's a main character, but Ed is the current leader, commander of the Night's Watch. Now, the Night's Watch is kind of depleted, but he is the reigning commander of whatever's left of the Night's Watch. Lyanna Mormont got killed. Theon, obviously, and Jorah had they're probably the 2 biggest ones. And their death scenes were great, may I add. Especially Theon's. I think Theon had a great arc. Because he's very cocky in the beginning. I didn't like Theon in the beginning. And then when he turned on the Starks, I really didn't like him. But then his Ramsay storyline, saving Sansa, all the stuff he did, saving Yara, and then protecting Bran to the very end, it redeemed him. And I thought that was great. Jorah, obviously. Who am I forgetting? Lyanna Mormont, Theon, Jorah, Ed. Oh, Beric Dondarrion, sorry. Beric, good death. Melisandre fulfilled her purpose. She died. And the Night King. And the Night King is probably the most shocking death of them all. I mean, because a lot of people did not think the Night King was going to go in this episode, and he did. And I think that is sticking to the Game of Thrones formula of being shocking. Because I didn't see it. I may have had thought that he would die, but I think a lot of people didn't expect it, and it happened. And I think that's pretty cool of them to, kill this guy who's looked at as the big bad in episode 3. So he has 7 major character deaths. I mean, Theon and Jorah are day 1 guys. I believe Melisandre and Ed are season 2 guys. Lyanna Mormont, obviously, in season 6, we first saw her. The Night King, obviously, has been a big bad for a while. And then Beric was burned around, I think, in season 3, maybe? But these are 7 major character deaths that you could think of. And that's more than any battle in the history of Game of Thrones. So, a lot of the deaths in the show, the big ones, have been from all the maneuvering and stuff, that plays. I mean, the Red Wedding happened. That wasn't a battle. That was just a slaughter at a wedding. So, the show didn't shy away from deaths. It could have used maybe one or two more. I think if you could have gave maybe a Brienne and Davos, or Brienne and Podrick, or Podrick and Davos, or maybe just one. If you would have gave Brienne her death in this episode, that could have been like one more big one that could have really made people feel like it was worth it. Because episode 2 really felt like a goodbye for a lot of characters. You really felt going into this that we were going to lose a lot of people. And again, the hype and the waiting for 2 years, there was just so many expectations going into this that I think no matter what they did, people would have found a reason to be upset. If Jon Snow would have got the chance to battle the Night King and kill him, people would have been mad that it was Jon who did it. Or if Dany would have somehow killed him, people would have been mad about that. And I think they had so many things against them that I think it was going to be hard. They've said for months now, if you've been reading any of the little press stuff they've done, they've said, actors have acknowledged, they cannot please everyone. You can't do it. It's impossible. I think they tried their best, and I really appreciate what they did. I think, again, like I said, having Arya be the one to do it was really cool. A twist that I didn't really think I would see. I thought for sure Jon would be the one. I thought Jon would be the Azor Ahai character and fulfill the prophecy of the prince who was promised. I've been doing a lot of listening to other people talk about that prophecy and what it means. And, the prince who was promised will bring the dawn. Nothing about killing the Night King, because, again, the Night King does not exist in the books. So if your whole thing was a prophecy off something you heard or read in the books, then I'm sorry, it's just that it might not work out for you that way. But Jon did bring the dawn. I mean, Jon was one of the people who brought everyone together. If it wasn't for Jon letting the wildlings through, and then giving his life, and then coming back from the dead, and then winning Winterfell back for the Starks, and then going to meet with Dany and getting her, convincing her to come fight. And I think all these things, he really was the chosen one who got everybody there. He's been saved by his sisters now twice. Sansa saved him in the Battle of the Bastards, and Arya saved everybody by killing the Night King. And I think that's really cool. I think that's really, really, really well done. It really fulfills her points. Melisandre said it in the before she went off to kill the Night King. She reminded her about the brown eyes, green eyes, and blue eyes thing, which was way back in season 3, I believe. And then Bran gave her the dagger last season. He said, you're better off having this. Take it. And we saw her do that flip, like I said before, when she was sparring against Brienne. So I think that's pretty cool to see all that stuff come together and Arya do it. One of my biggest complaints about Arya's storyline has always been her faceless man training. I never knew where that was going to go, what was going to come of it. We saw her kill the Freys, but was that it? That was the whole point of it? But you see how her ninja-like skills of being stealthy and quiet. You see it in the scene where she's in the library and all of them around her, and she has to move silently to tiptoe around them. How quiet she is, and how quick she is, that they couldn't hear her or pick up where she was at. So it's perfect that she was able to run by all of them to get to the Night King. That's brilliant. That's great. It feels like it paid off, and I was really happy with it. I think that all in all, I give the episode a 9 out of 10. When I first watched it, I thought it was a 10 out of 10. And then, like I said, I kind of, as a sat, I had all these things and issues with it, and I just wanted so much from the episode. I expected so much that I really had to sit on it. That's why I waited to watch it for the second time until today, because I really wanted to sit with my thoughts for a while, and I did. And I listened to other people. I talked to my friends, and then I watched it again today. And then I was like, you know what, man, it's time to start this page, and it's time to get my thoughts out there. And I wish, if you have complaints about the episode, obviously there are some things that still need to be filled in. Give it time. I don't think they were going to give us too much information in that episode because the whole episode was a battle, beginning to end. Boom. Started, ended, battle. I believe this episode coming up, hopefully, will maybe fill in some pieces. Maybe Bran has some information that he can give us, and we'll find out in this episode coming up. I believe this episode is going to be 78 minutes long, which is 4 minutes shorter than this past episode. So it's a lot of time. And I think we could see a lot of maybe, hopefully, dialogue to clue us in as to why it went the way it did. I'm hopeful. So I would just ask everybody to just give it a chance, and let's see how these last 3 episodes of the show play out. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited for it, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, well, I rambled on enough tonight about The Long Night, Season 8, Episode 3 of Game of Thrones. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like it, share it, comment, click that subscribe button so you get notifications whenever I upload a video. I'm going to be trying to do uploads daily of different topics. Some of these, like I said, sports, music, movies, television, comic book stuff, all types of things. So if you guys liked it, man, again, subscribe, share, comment, like the video, man. And feel free, please give me your thoughts and your theories and what your hopes, your expectations were. If you loved it, if you hated it, if you were let down, why you were let down. I love to have conversations about Game of Thrones, so I hope to hear from you guys. And other than that, have a great night.